Okay. Okay. Yeah, nice to see you one more time. And today going to be our second tutorial on bidding. I initially wanted to make it on bidding and also on attribution and also on events, but then I figured out that probably just bidding itself is quite deep and interesting enough topic. So I would rather go into bidding a bit more detail so that we all roughly understand how it works, particularly how it's different on Facebook, and also why our platform works better than automatic bidding or maybe some standard tools, or maybe why it's better than even agencies that adapting different scenarios and approaches into running cost-efficient ad campaigns. So tutorial 2, bidding. You remember from last time that we have multiple cost factors of Facebook, and these cost factors affect costs, and they're different across different industries. So we have target audiences that basically tells what type of people we want to show the ad, and therefore affect who will see the ads. Yeah, we have marketing objective, which is about which stage of the buying of the purchase journey our people are, whether they just need to get awareness, whether they already considering to buy. Remember the example I was making with buying a car. You might be just aware that car is good, you might be looking for the car, you might be already decide to buy, so you just need to like a last purchase decision needs to be made by you. We have a budget. Budget is related to how much money we need to spend per day, and since we are buying impressions, we need to spend like if you want to spend more budget to buy more impressions, that we will proportionally have a delivery speed. So basically, how much time, how much money we spend per I don't know, per minute delivering our ads. So budget and delivery speed are closely related, kind of like a fuel consumption of your car. You drive faster, you consume more fuel per minute. So same as delivery of the ads. Have competition. Who is competing at the same time? Which other advertisers compete with us? When you choose to advertise, basically, sometimes competition is higher in the peak hours when people go for lunch. Sometimes competition is lower, let's say at night. Some advertisers don't show ads on night, so competition is lower, price could be lower. Ad placement is how and where we show the ads, and relevance, which basically the scores that Facebook assigned to every ad to summarize all the key factors on top. So this is the key for cost factors. So today we're going to talk about particularly competition and very closely related factor or concept called bidding in the ads. Competition is formed inside the auction. The auction is similar to our traditional auction when we are trying to sell some goods, let's say paintings, and let's say some other pieces of art. And in this auction, we have basically some item, let's say a picture painting you want to sell, and then people say, well, I'm going to pay $3 for it, and then another one say, I'm going to pay only $2, and another one say, only going to $1. Then the one that willing to pay $3 gets the painting. And in Facebook and Google, people are fighting for impressions, basically for the chance to show the ads to a particular guy that is right now browsing Facebook. So basically, every time that one of us open a Facebook, Facebook starts selling us to advertisers. Let's say Alex decided to browse Facebook. I'm scrolling down my timeline, and I'm seeing a post from my friends. And at the same time, Facebook is trading me in auction among advertisers. So for example, previously Facebook figured out some ways that I'm interested in cars. So Audi, BMW, Peugeot, and some other cars brands, they are fighting for showing ad to me, and the one that decides that pays most money will eventually show ad to me. And also in front of you have a burger example, right? So like somebody who is assigned by Facebook as a person who potentially like fast food. He started browsing his, let's say, Facebook Messenger or Instagram, and then McDonald's, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and others, they all fighting for showing advertisement to this guy to win impressions. So showing one ad to this guy on one of the device is called one impression. One person can receive more than one impression. That's why it's called impression, because I can see the ad in my mobile phone. Later, I can open my desktop, Instagram, I can see the same ad. So it will be two impressions, but one person. And that's why it's called impression. That's why they don't say show to people, but two impressions, because impression is showing ad on a device, and people, one person can see the same ad on many devices. It will be one person, but many impressions. So then I was explaining the concept that the winner pays most, right? So basically, just now I explained that the guy who pays most to show burger to me, who is willing to pay $3 as opposed to $1 or $2 by other two advertisers, that guy wins. And then this guy, let's say McDonald's, will show this burger to me, but not, let's say, KFC and Pizza Hut as a two left guys. But there is also the possibility to choose another audience that is cheaper to show the ad. And that ad audience may be not targeted through burger, but targeted through pastry, right? For example, pastry is something less common interest in a particular region, but that's a lot of people still who are assigned by Facebook to be interested in pastry. And it could be also, I don't know, vegetables, can be also vegetarian community, can be also like many other interests that audiences are smaller each, but at the same time, these guys are still relevant, still can buy our burger. So why don't we show burger but target the people through pastry, let's say, and then we only need to spend $1, because the guy on the bottom, let's say McDonald's, he even doesn't know that you can actually target this audience through pastry, and therefore they'll be paying $3 to show their burgers to people who obviously like burgers, but we will be paying only, let's say, $1, targeting our burger ads through pastry to people who still willing to buy burgers because they probably like both burgers and pastry, right? So like a new audiences. So we explained that as a long tail targeting last time. And we say that, you know, our AI, the Samin platform, can discover lots of such categories that are still relevant to our audience, but cheaper to bid for because other advertisers don't know about it. And therefore, we can reach these people easier, cheaper, is not less relevant, and therefore we can get better results. So till now, everything you see is something we tell to clients. It's something to explain to clients, and usually it's enough because this concept is quite easy to grasp. So in today's lecture, I wanted to go a little bit deeper and explain you something that we usually don't explain to clients unless they are very curious. Something that usually we explain to our team to figure out how actually it works in detail. Because to be honest, this system is way much more complicated than what you see in the slide in front of you. And I wanted to go a little bit deeper to enhance your general understanding. So after this lecture, you're supposed to understand why different bids won't work differently for different clients. So basically, why for one client I can bid $5 and I still don't get my my clicks, but for another client I bid $2, but I already get lots of clicks at cheap price. It's also you'll be able to answer the question why same bid across different days work differently. In some days, bid $3 give me a lot of conversion, but for the same client, another day or another time of the day, same bid doesn't give you much conversions. Or maybe just same time, but just another day, something changed, and then the same bid doesn't give you conversion. So you will be able to answer all these questions. If you still cannot, please, after this lecture, ask questions. And especially those team members that are more experienced operations team members, please ask questions. Probably you understand what I'll be talking about, and therefore you can, for the sake of everybody's understanding, you can ask questions and I'll be happy to reply. So there are two things we need to know, two definitions. One is CPM, cost per mille, and another one is CTR, click-through rates. So cost per mille is basically cost per 1,000 impressions. Just now I was explaining what is impression. Impression is when a person sees the ad on some device. Yeah. Cost per 1,000 impressions is basically cost of showing the ad to 1,000 times. Why it's 1,000? Because one impression is too cheap. It's too hard to deal with the numbers. It will be 0.000 something. So it's too hard to deal with. That's why advertisers deal with CPM, with thousands of people. CPM can be very cheap, can be, I don't know, $1, but can be also very expensive, can be $10. And how much CPM will cost, it actually depends on where you advertise, what time you advertise, what kind of industry you're advertising, etc., etc., etc. Right? So for different industry, different regions, different time of the day, different product, different quality of content, you're going to have different CPMs. This is the key basic cost that Facebook trading ads for. Yeah, this is the first thing. Second is called CTR. This is another very basic metric that tells you how often, in percentage, people click your ad. Yeah, so given 100 people seeing your ad, if 3 of these 100 people will click the ad, then CTR will be 3%. In case it's 1,000 people see the ad and 30 people click the ad, the CTR will be 3%. In case 10 people will click the ad out of 1,000 people who see, then CTR will be 1%. Healthy CTR usually ranges between 1 to 5%. In some exceptional cases, it can be up to 20%, but this is usually something very, very exceptional. But sometimes, of course, we see CTRs lower than 1%, 0.5%. Usually, this means that your ad is less relevant to people. So when they see the ad, they're not willing to click. Or maybe your content have a problem or something like this. So these are two key metrics. So these two metrics, they kind of are the most basic, the most background, because everything else is built on top of them. If your CPM is expensive, like if your cost per showing ad is super expensive, even your ad is very, very well performing, like very high CTR, so people very often like to click it, your cost still will be expensive because per unit is very expensive, per impression is very expensive. Maybe if we compare cars, right? We can have a car that is very fast and very well to control, Ferrari, right? So analogy will be a very high CTR, but because it's so fast and it requires a big engine, so it eats a lot of gas. So you know, driving Ferrari will be very expensive, even though you are driving fast and you maneuver and everything, but it's still very expensive. And you might also have, you know, like a very basic car, I don't know, Toyota Corolla, right? That one will have very efficient consumption. The engine will be very small, 1.6 liters, very small, right? And your gas consumption will be very low. So your CPM will be low. At the same time, also Toyota will be not giving you as high quality of, I don't know, driving experience as Ferrari. It also will not let you win on a racing track. So CTR will be like low. But since your CPM is also low, Toyota might be a winner in some situations because it's really cheap to drive Toyota. So in case if you want to, drive to your work every day, and your key factor is your costs, then Toyota is a better choice. Even CTR is lower. But in case if your objective is to win in a racing track, your cost is not that much important, and therefore you are okay with a higher CPM because your Ferrari drives you very high CTR, very very high experience, and also it's very fast. It's very good to be so. What I'm trying to say is that these two guys, they always work together. What we don't want to have is obviously high CPM and low CTR. What we really want to have is low CPM and high CTR. But of course, in the real life, usually when one goes up, they kind of go up. They're going up and down together. So we always want to find a balance. In ideal world, we always want to have cheap cost per impression and also high engagement rates. And we always look for this. Like we can improve CTR by better offering, by better content. We can decrease CPM by showing to audiences that are cheaper to show the ad. Competition is lower. Hope you understand this, right? But ask me again, and I'm going to show you some visuals about this. So look at this. So this I call it like an audience funnel. This is a good way to look at how Facebook works. Some of you have seen it. I was drawing it on blackboard on a paper. I'm just trying to explain to everybody. So it's two dimensions here. One is CTR on the left side, and another one is CPM. And you can see this 0.1 to $0.5, 0.5 to $1, $1 to $5, $5 plus. Don't think about exact numbers of CTR and CPM. I just put some examples, right? Just to put a bit more context. But it's a two-dimensional picture here. So if we get okay, give me a moment. So if we get our CTR here, it's quite low, right, compared to the bottom one. And here we have CTR much higher. Unfortunately, I cannot see my own cursor. That's why I'm so not accurate about where I'm drawing, but hopefully you understand. So the first one is low CTR, right? The top one, and the bottom one is a high CTR. You can see that if you take the whole audience of the brand, the whole this funnel, you will see that it's pretty much uniformly split in terms of how the CTR decrease. So and CTR, I think the key point is CTR is different, right? So we have some chunk of the audience here on the bottom, this chunk of audience where CTR is higher, and then we get a big chunk on the bottom, on the middle, where the CTR is like mid-range, and then we also get another piece of the audience where CTR is really low. Yeah. So so this is like a different parts of the funnel. Okay, now I try to choose another color, probably this one. Now look at CPM, right? We also have some part of the audience that doesn't have too much competition. So the CPM will be quite low. We also have another part of the audiences where CPM is a bit higher. Yeah, sorry, it's this one. I was intending to show this one. And then we have another part of the audience where CPM is really much higher. So now you can see that we have CTR and CPM continuously interacting with each other. And we kind of trying to find a sweet spot here so that our CTR is clearly reasonable. So the audience is still high quality, but at the same time, you want to get this CPM to be lower. The reason why I'm explaining so slow, I'm trying to close this panel. I completely cannot see my mouse. Sorry for that. Try to close the panel with the drawings. That really doesn't work for me. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I'll try to just, yeah, give me a moment. Okay. Yeah. Now, so just one once from very beginning. Every audience on Facebook, or maybe even the whole Facebook audience, the whole this funnel, can be split into multiple ways. It can be split in terms of CTR, basically relevance, and you always will get some part of the audience that is very relevant. CTR is 3%, and also you'll get some part of the audience that is much less relevant. CTR is 1.3%. And there will be corresponding volumes. Obviously, we will get much more less relevant people than as compared to those that are very relevant people. That's why the funnel goes in this way. So the volume of this square of the funnel is basically how many people belong to this group. So with CTR of 1.3, we get much more people as compared to CTR with a 3%. But also at the same time in Facebook, we have cost for these people, and costs also increase. You have some small number of people that's gonna get your CPM of 0.1 to 0.5. Then you get much more people that are gonna have CPM of $5 plus, right? Just for the sake of example. So if you're able to find some piece of audience that still have a high enough CTR, but yet not very high CPM, this will mean that you will be showing the ads relatively cheap, but still a big volume of people will be converting from your ad, will be, I don't know, clicking, right? And maybe if they click, they could be also converting eventually, right? Let's just assume that clicks are proportional to conversions, which is not true, but let's assume that. So if you look for two brands examples, you can see that for brand X, let's say it can be, I don't know, McDonald's, right? And brand Y, which is, let's say, some local Singapore food store that have only 2 outlets somewhere in some not very famous districts. They have different picture. McDonald's will have quite a big number of people, the purple color in the left side, with a relatively cheap CPM and high CTR. But let's say brand Y will have much less people with high CTR and also low CPM. We can be just even don't put this kind of context. Just what I'm trying to say is that the whole audience of Facebook is pretty much split in terms of CTR, in terms of relevance, in the same way, but at the same time for different audiences, we have different CPMs, cost per showing ads to these people.
Alex, question.
Yep.
The in the middle, you have 2.5% CTR. Are they on purpose, or is actually 2.5% and 2%?
I put on purpose. Okay. I wanted to show that you're getting 2.5 CTR. With some of them you're getting at cost of 0.1 to 1.5 CPM, and some of these people you're gonna get at cost of 5 CPM or 1 to 5 CPM. I'm just trying to show the non-linearity of this process. Sometimes we get clients who are like a situation on the left side. Sometimes you're gonna get clients a situation on the right side. So in the left side, we going to deliver ads at quite good performance till the purple area will finish. And after that, we're gonna deliver them still reasonable performance till green area and finish. And around the blue area, we're gonna get clients asking, how come ads become more expensive? Because they keep increasing budget, they want to reach more volume, right? Show ads to more people, and then we have to tap into green areas and into blue area, then into the orange area, which is very expensive CPM and lower CTRs. But for some other clients, other industry maybe, right, or even same industry but different brands, our purple area will finish very fast. But then we have quite long green and blue area, right? So for these guys, we can scale at cheaper cost. But for the left side, we can show quite good precision results in the bottom. But then after that, when you truly want to scale, you're going to have low CTR and high CPM, which wouldn't bring you very good results. That's why these factors, they always kind of work together, and just by having these things together, you can find the best audience, and in terms of both CPM and CTR. And this is what our platform is doing pretty much, right? So our platform, or pretty much any other automation platform, let's say SoMin or any other platform, what they are doing, they're trying to figure out what kind of audiences you need to find that they are cheap to buy, but at the same time they are relevant. So the CTR is relatively high, but they're cheaper to buy as compared to what Facebook will provide you automatically, or compared to your most obvious targeting. Why is they cheaper to buy? They're cheaper to buy because not too many advertisers bid or fight for that audience, for that interest, for that guy to show the ad. That's why your CPM is lower. But in case if guy is reactive to the ad, so CTR is still high, then you can get quite a good deal. You're buying relevant guy at a cheap cost. But if you rely on Facebook's own infrastructure, Facebook will be most likely, it will be deciding for you what kind of CPM it should be, what kind of CTR it should be for your budget. So Facebook will be recommending you somebody at a higher range with a middle kind of level of CTR and higher CPM, because Facebook will be putting you into auction with other people who bid to the same interests, let's say also burgers, and then they will be fighting between each other. I was trying to show it here. So in the case when when a guy running ads through, let's say, standard Facebook infrastructure, then he will be tapping somewhere between, let's say, this green area with the high CPM. So this guy will be maybe receiving leads with the same CTR. So the quality, relevance of the ad will be similar to SoMin ad, but CPM will be higher, and therefore he'll be tapping into this red oval group, and then overall the cost will be higher. At the same time, let's say SoMin platform use a lot of automation to A/B test and figure out, okay, actually you can tap the whole bottom of this audience. Many of them cannot be reached through burger, but can be reached through pastry, and can be reached through, I don't know, puppies and some other interests that are not directly related to fast food. But if a platform able to find that, and then it will be able to buy this ad cheaper. And in case if these guys are similar in terms of relevance, or a bit of lower in terms of relevance, overall cost per click, and therefore cost per conversion, therefore cost per everything else, let's assume it's like that, yeah, will be lower. And that's why platform works. And that's why long tail targeting, or whatever other ways of targeting that allow you to tap into this lower cost but yet relevant audiences, you'll be beneficial as compared to the expensive case when you want to buy burgers through burgers. And this is how it works. So I open this funnel picture again, and please ask questions if somebody has some questions on this still.
Aleks, are you saying so for zoom-in targeting, we are more similar to the left one or more similar to the right one, or it's not? So what factor determines which brand are more similar to the left funnel or the right funnel?
So mean targeting does not have relation to left or to right, right? So it's nothing related to mean targeting. What you see is just two examples of two brands, and this example basically shows that for different situations, for different cases, we have this funnel look differently. So there's three dimensions here, right? The first dimension is CPM. The second dimension is CTR, and the third dimension is basically the volume of this transaction. So volume is how many people you can show the ad at this combination of CTR and CPM. Then CTR is relevance of the ad to these people, and CPM is how much it costs to show ad to these people. So you see three dimensions. And by this slide, I'm trying to show that you have two brands. These brands are different, or two industries. You might have this funnel look very different, and you might fall into industry or brand that have really big, really big section, which is purple, which is low CPM and high CTR. So they're very relevant. They are easy to show, and the volume is big. And for these brands, you'll be doing the best. So mean will be doing the best because hopefully we can find this purple area, and it can scale it, so it can really do a lot of audience at this very cheap and relevant rate. But for some audiences, like on the right side, even find the purple area, or let's say purple area, we only can show ad to CTR will be decreasing and cost will be higher. Therefore, some industries are better for platform like and some industries are worse. And of course, we want to always find clients that have opportunity like a funnel in the left side as compared to the right side, especially when it comes to finding this purple area of the plot. So if you ask me which targeting is mean targeting, there's no relation to this picture. But if you ask me what kind of client is better for mean technology, of course, opportunity-wise, the left one is better than the right one, because for the left one we have a really huge area of high relevance and low cost. And given that platform can find that area, and let's say agency cannot find it, then will have big opportunity. While on the right,
is Aleks lagging or?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same here.
Oh, okay. I thought it's myself. Let me remind him.
can you still hear me?
Now we can, but we lost you for 1 minute something.
Okay, sorry for that. I will be doing this from home next time. I think very good idea to do it in the office. Anyway, I'll just answer your question one more time because I heard your question. So basically, you were asking which part of which funnel is more related to mean targeting or less related to mean targeting. answer is both of them are not related to targeting directly, but left one is better for SOMIN as compared to the right one, because in the left one, we have bigger audience of a purple color, which have high relevance, 3% CTR, and low cost. And if SOMIN can discover that audience, we can deliver lots of advertisement with high relevance and low cost, and therefore we will help clients to be better. In the right side, even we discover the purple audience, it's very small. So once you want to spend more money, you will have to tap into green audience and then into blue audience. And then once you tap into blue or even orange audience, in the end, you will be spending lots of money and you'll be having a low click-through rate. And therefore, your ads will be more expensive, less converting, and then it might become similar price as your competitive agency or somebody else have.
One question. In the case if client is willing to spend more, for example, they're willing to spend a lot more, so they're willing to accept CPM of 2 or 3 or 4. Would it be the right funnel would be better for them in that case, if they're client willing to accept a much higher CPM?
Yeah, that's right. So in case if you see that client is going to scale with you and have a potential spend a lot of budgets, it's better to have a right funnel than the left funnel, because in the left funnel, somewhere in the middle, you're going to hit quite expensive CPM. A lot of competition by other advertisers fighting for those chunk of audience. And therefore, you'll get a significant jump of cost. But for the right side, it will be more or less uniform. So to summarize, left funnel is good for the cases when your budgets are small to medium, so that you can always deliver ads in the purple area. Right one is better for scaling. That's why I think it's generally more expensive to drive clicks, but I think there's a mistake there. But it's better to increase volume, and the left one is cheaper to drive clicks, but it's more difficult to increase the volume because you'll be hitting the expensive area quite fast.
Okay, no question for me.
And on terms of time, how long it will take to achieve from red to purple? 1 month, 3 months?
So SOMIN platform usually is able to figure out, in case we discover the right audiences, we will be able to find the purple part quite fast. And then we'll keep pushing ads to that. So it's always our goal to find the purple part as fast as possible. And then after that, keep delivering ads to these purple people so that we have a low cost. However, and again, if you start scale, if you have to start increase budgets, you will be, you'll have to put more efforts, and the platform have to be more advanced to keep yourself in a green area, in a blue area, but not in the orange area. Because once you hit the orange area, you'll become more expensive, and everybody will. Problem is when you do it manual, through manual bids, as we set up bids on a platform, etc. You kind of have more control. When you say automatic bidding, then Facebook decides, and then Facebook surely will put you in the orange area when they need, or when they feel you're stick enough to the platform, or when basically some other advertisers will have better content than you. For example, somebody will have better content, Facebook will score that content better. They will think, okay, this content is better for user experience. Therefore, SOMIN content, or I don't know, McDonald's content, which is worse, scored to be worse, is gonna be put into orange area with a low CTR and high CPM. In case they're willing to pay, let them pay. In case they're not willing to pay, they better stop the ads, and then we'll prioritize ads with the better content. So as I say, there's many more other factors inside, such as relevance score of the ads, etc., that still affect that. And actually, Facebook will be, putting you in different parts of this funnel based on their own priorities, which is not, most of the times, is not the same priority as the brand has. If you do it manually, if you control it manually and you optimize, then you have more chance to hit the purples and greens and blue, rather than jumping straight into the orange area, which is not good. And when you rely on Facebook, or when people are not experienced in Facebook trying to run ads, or when agency doesn't have or doesn't spend too much time on the running ads, they quite often choose the most obvious targeting, fall into orange area straight away, and then ads are expensive and CTR is lower. So this is how it works, and that's why Snowmin is better, because we can find purple area faster and more often, and hopefully stay inside. Or if you scale, go slowly from bottom to top, not like from bottom all the way straight into orange. Any other questions?
Not from me.
Okay, guys, this is internal webinars, right? So asking questions here is very important and absolutely not shameful. So I think there are still some people, especially newbies, who might don't understand this. And I suggest you watch it through and try to really figure out how it works. And the reason is that after the third or maybe fourth webinar, we're gonna have exam when everybody gonna submit a form with questions and answers to figure out which parts we still not good at. So all this information will be available to everybody in Confluence, and everybody gonna take exam, including myself. But I'll pass it because I'll be the one creating questions. But everybody else needs to understand the concepts, right? Thanks so much. Sorry for taking a bit longer time, and I hope you have enjoyed that. Next time we will be probably discussing the attribution and events. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.